I found this story years ago on a forum where people shared strange things that had happened to them. Most of the posts sounded fake, but this one always stayed with me. The person who wrote it had recently moved into a small house outside their town. It wasn't completely isolated, but the nearest neighbor was a few minutes away by car. The house was surrounded by trees, and at night the silence was almost unsettling. The first week living there was completely normal. They unpacked their belongings, set up their furniture, and slowly got used to the quiet. But during the second week, they started noticing small things that didn't make sense. Nothing dramatic at first, just little things. Kitchen cabinets that had been closed were open when they came back into the room. Their keys appeared on the dining table when they clearly remembered leaving them on the counter. One morning they woke up and the refrigerator door was slightly open. They assumed they were just forgetting things. Moving is stressful, and it's easy to overlook small details. But then the noises started. Late at night, when the house was completely quiet, they would hear faint sounds from other rooms. A floorboard creaking in the hallway, a soft tapping sound in the kitchen. Once they even heard what sounded like a chair slowly sliding across the floor. They told themselves it was just an old house settling, until one night around 2 a.m., when they woke up suddenly to the sound of glass breaking. They grabbed their phone and walked carefully toward the kitchen. The house was dark, except for the faint light from the refrigerator. When they entered the room, they saw pieces of a broken glass on the floor. They didn't remember leaving a glass out, but they cleaned it up and went back to bed. The next night, something worse happened. They woke up again, but this time it wasn't a loud noise. It was footsteps, slow footsteps moving through the kitchen, then across the living room, and finally into the hallway that led to their bedroom. They sat up in bed, completely frozen, listening. The footsteps stopped right outside their door. For nearly a minute, there was complete silence. Then they heard something that made their stomach drop, a whisper, very quiet, but clear enough to understand. Someone outside the door softly said their name. They jumped out of bed and opened the door immediately. The hallway was empty. No one was there. They searched every room in the house but found nothing. But when they reached the kitchen, they noticed something strange. The back door was slightly open. They were certain they had locked it earlier that night. When the police arrived and searched the house, they discovered something disturbing. Inside the attic crawl space were blankets, empty food wrappers, and a flashlight. Someone had been living there, watching, listening, and according to the officer who checked the attic, the blankets were still warm. A few years ago, someone posted a story online that quickly gained attention because of how unsettling it was. The person explained that they lived alone in a small apartment while attending college. Their room was simple, a bed against the wall, a desk with a laptop, and a door that opened into a short hallway leading to the rest of the apartment. Like most people, they often left their laptop open on the desk overnight. One night around 3:30 a.m., they woke up suddenly. There was no loud noise or obvious reason, just that strange feeling people sometimes get when something seems wrong. They rolled over and looked toward their desk. That's when they noticed something strange. The small green light next to the laptop webcam was on. At first they were confused, but then they realized what it meant. That light only turns on when the camera is recording. The laptop was supposed to be asleep. Slowly they got out of bed and walked toward the desk. The moment they touched the trackpad, the screen lit up and the webcam light immediately turned off. They checked the screen. Nothing was open. No video calls, no recording programs. Everything looked normal. They assumed it must have been some kind of glitch, but something about it bothered them, so they opened the File Explorer and sorted the files by recently created. That's when they saw it, a video file created just minutes earlier. The file name was just random numbers. They stared at it for a long moment before finally opening it. The video began playing, It was recorded from the laptop's webcam. The camera showed their bedroom, and in the video, they were asleep in bed. The recording continued for several seconds. Nothing moved. Then the bedroom door slowly opened. A person stepped inside. The camera quality was poor, but the shape of someone entering the room was clear. The figure walked slowly toward the bed, then stopped beside it, just standing there, watching. After a few seconds, the person leaned closer to the sleeping figure. Then suddenly the figure turned toward the laptop, as if they knew the camera was recording. They leaned closer to the screen, their face nearly filling the frame, but the lighting was too dark to make out their features, just their eyes, staring directly into the camera. Then the recording ended. When the writer checked the file properties, they noticed something terrifying. The recording had stopped exactly 1 minute before they woke up. They searched the entire apartment afterward, every room, every closet, but no one was there, and the door was still locked. This story appeared on an online discussion site a few years ago and quickly spread because of how strange it was. The post had a simple title: "Has anyone else received messages like this?" Inside the post were screenshots of text messages from an unknown number. The messages contained nothing but GPS coordinates. No words, no explanation, just numbers. The person who posted it assumed it was probably spam, but curiosity got the better of them. So they copied the coordinates into Google Maps. The location appeared about 20 minutes away from their house, deep in a forest outside the city. They laughed and ignored it, but the next night, another message arrived, different coordinates. When they checked the map, the location was closer, about 15 minutes away, still somewhere in the forest. Now they were confused. They texted back asking who it was. No response. A few hours later, another message appeared, more coordinates. 10 minutes away now, still moving in the same direction. At this point, they started feeling uneasy. The next message arrived just after midnight, 5 minutes away. When they looked at the map this time, they noticed something disturbing. All the coordinates formed a straight line, and that line was heading directly toward their house. They posted the screenshots online, asking if anyone knew what it meant. Some people said it was probably a prank. Others said someone might be tracking them. Then another message arrived, new coordinates. This time, when they pasted them into the map, their stomach dropped. It was their street. More specifically, their house. The timestamp showed the message had been sent only seconds earlier. As they stared at their phone, another message appeared. Not coordinates this time, just 3 words: look outside. Slowly, they walked toward the window. At the edge of their yard, near the trees, a figure stepped out from the darkness, standing completely still, holding a phone. Seconds later, the final message appeared. This is the last one.